In this video, we're talking about ISTJs and ENFPs specifically in a relationship, but you can kind of extrapolate that into other relationships where you have all the letters flippy-flopped from the Myers-Briggs code. What's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. Like I said, I'm going to talk specifically about ISTJs and ENFPs in a relationship and some of the struggles that they can go through and some of the real good benefits that can come out of it. It's got to be difficult. I mean, I have a really good ESTJ friend. I'm an INFP. There are a lot of places where we just don't quite click. And it's taken years and years of struggles, of bouncing off each other, of me wanting to strangle him, of him probably feeling the same way about me sometimes, but we got through it. We got past it. And there's a ton of gold and treasure to be had once you get there. Like the path, the map to get there kind of sucks, right? Like you got that map, you're like, wow, it's way over there. Okay, this is where we want to go in this relationship. You've got all these ups and downs and zigzags and everywhere you got to go. And really you want that end goal of the peace of mind, of you seeing eye to eye, of you not struggling consistently and constantly with these issues, and you're like, why don't you see things that are going on around you? Or why don't you check in with your past? Why don't you expand your possibilities and go do something new and exciting? There's tons of different things, right? To bring it back, let's go into some of the desires of each of those types, and then we'll talk about some more of the struggles, and then we'll go into some teaching about it, some different things that you can take away, some learnings that you can bring into your relationship. This doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a business relationship, but I'm going to usually talk about it in a romantic relationship type slant. As well as, let's just assign some genders. ISTJ probably will say it's a male, and ENFP will say it's a female. Let's just do that, okay? So the ENFP just wants to have the freedom of being spontaneous, of acting when things happen, of not like bogging down the structure or bogging down with structure, and being able to just get up and go and do something new, and you feel like going on a vacation. Well, let's go on a vacation. That would be awesome. So she's going to always just have this bubbly kind of energy that's wanting to experience new things and take new chances and explore and imagine what if, and get really into the imagination. And the ISTJ is going to want to ground it in some more structure, some more stability, like set up the perimeter so that the zombies don't get in. Like, we need to build this wall. We need to make sure that everything is thought through and maintained so that we can live the life that we want to live, so that we can let our minds go to where they want to go, so that we can recall these awesome experiences and learn from them and implement the ideas and the memories that we've had, and the experiences, the traditions, the routines, make life more stable and reliable. And there's going to be this push and pull between both of those for sure, but that's one of the main issues that's going to happen, is that struggle of, like, I want the freedom to explore where my ideas take me. I want to go where I want to go when I want to go. And if you try to hold me down, this is the ENFP talking, if you try to hold me down or hold me back or stop me from doing that, it's going to cause them to want to flee, to go away. Like, she's not going to want to hang around there because you're restricting the core desire in a lot of ways of the ENFP. But the ISTJ, like, you want to maintain that structure, remember? You want to be protected in a lot of ways. You want to do things as they should be, because that's how they should be done, right? Like, this is how you build the wall. This is how you plan for your future. This is how you get a great life and have the kids that you want to have, and the money, the financial stability that you can do the things you want to do in the future. Like, you need to plan for these things. And so, right, there's going to be that back and forth a lot. And I would imagine that like a 1-year goal, like if you were to think about how things would really be good for this relationship, the ISTJ has finally helped that ENFP like stop struggling financially and in work, and actually like stop tripping over the same rocks again and again and again. Like, that rock's always going to be there. Just plan for it and go around it, or go over it, go under it, if that's what you want to do. But like, there's always going to be this issue unless you plan for it. You know, I know that's an abstraction, a metaphor, but really, like, I mean, I, as a perceiver myself, and I've known many ENFPs, ESFPs, ESTPs, you know, sometimes we do things the hard way. We don't really take in those lessons from what happened the last time, and we just like stumble and stumble and stumble over the same stupid issue over and over again. And so I would imagine, you know, as an ESTJ, you're like this is taken care of now. You now know that you should stop and you should listen to your past a little bit and kind of analyze it a little bit more before taking those steps. Be a little bit more planned and methodical. And on the ENFP side, you know, she's looking at the ISTJ and she's like, I've finally gotten him to loosen up a bit, to experience a bit more of life, to be a bit more spontaneous, to not worry about all the small things, to not zoom in on all those little details, to let things slide a bit more. And to, you know, pack up and go on that little vacation or something like that. Just, it's going to be fine. Things are going to be fine. You don't need to worry about it, you know. So I think if you think about how things are and then how things could be, then you can see the steps to get there. And one important aspect of this is that you have the same cognitive functions. Well, we all have the same cognitive functions. You have those same 4 different characters, those same different 4 pieces of wiring or components that you deal with a lot in your life, semi-consciously. You know, they're the parts that you've identified as part of you, of who you are. Like, I am this ego, I am this type of person, I do this type of thing. So the ENFP really like identifies and lives with this character, the innovative explorer, extroverted intuition. And that's all about pushing buttons, exploring, imagining what if, going out there and trying new things, being spontaneous, enjoying extrapolating ideas and brainstorming, right? Imagining all these different possibilities. And it's not just within ideas, but it's taking chances. It's doing things to understand more about how things are interconnected. It's pattern recognition, emergent pattern recognition. So it means you do something, you take that action, and this other thing happens. Well, you've just gained information about how life works, right? And you can kind of transplant that onto other situations that are similar. It's about shaking things up, about changing, about innovating, okay? And then for the ENFP, that's like the hero. That's the one that they want to be in all the time. The one the voice that's speaking the loudest, the one that the spotlight is on for most of their life. But for the ISTJ, that voice doesn't really sound too great. And that's understandable, because for the ISTJ, that's this kind of outlaw, wild character that's kind of an antagonist or anti-hero, but it's an aspiration in a lot of ways too. You want that character on your team, because if that character was there and doing the right thing, then everything would be glorious and good. So for the ISTJ, you lead with introverted sensing, that methodical guardian. That's about checking in with the captured experiences that you've had. So recalling, reviewing your memories, your past, and having the time and freedom to recall those and to go through them and to watch those short movie clips, essentially, of what happened in the past, so that you can get a more reliable understanding of how things worked. And of course, if you know how things worked, then you can look to what's going on now and you can say, okay, well, this, I've got these data points, I've understood life. So why don't we just put that on there, and we can check and see like what happened in the past, and we can implement those procedures. We can bring in those learnings that we've had so that we don't make the same mistakes again, so that we can carry ourselves forward without stumbling over every block. It's hindsight. It's checking in with your past and saying, okay, well, this is something that we need to be aware of. So let's be aware of it and let's plan for it. It's methodical. It's conscientious. It's crossing the T's, dotting the I's. It's maintaining that structure, the day-to-day continuity of life, and it's doing that to keep things safe and protected. Right? Because if you've checked in with all these past experiences that you've had or that a trusted authority has had, then you're going to be more prepared for what's going to happen. There's less chaos. And now the ENFP who's been listening to this, you're just like, oh man, that sounds awful. like following the structure of things and getting bound down to that sounds really painful for a lot of ENFPs. It sounds painful for me, and I'm an INFP, so it's a step down on severity for sure. These characters, they're on a polarity. They're mirror opposites of each other, and they're still connected. So the ENFP deep down does want that stability of life, does want to check in and recall their past experiences and embrace some nostalgia. Like, that's how you really refresh yourself as an ENFP. To watch a movie that you've seen 10 times or something like that. For the ISTJ, deep down, you have this quirky kind of energy that wants to explore things, wants to change things up a little bit, wants to paint the walls or change the curtains, or just go on a little vacation, or take a drive around the city that you love so much, but go on different paths and explore a little bit, right? It's in there. And understanding that is one massive key to making these relationships work. Is deep down, you both do want the same things, but it's a matter of how much. And how much are you going to really focus on that? How much time and energy you're going to invest in it? So I think one thing that you can do is to embrace that. And know, okay, right now, that innovative explorer is kind of tripping me up a little bit. Like, this is the ISTJ talking. You just calm it down a little bit. Let me kind of acclimate myself to this situation before we just go out. Just give me a little bit, right? And the ENFP is gonna need to have those movie days or something like that, where you just sit in, you watch some movie that you've loved for a long time. You're bonding. You're building these traditions and routines with the person that you are with. Sharing these experiences that you can look back on fondly, and say, at that time, this is how you were feeling. I realize that now because I've checked in with my past. I was too involved in the moment. Now I'm able to take that time a little bit because I'm not worried about what's going on. I can settle myself a little bit and I can look into that. And another thing, you got two more characters that we're going to talk about here. So you have extroverted thinking, the strategic commander. Okay, this is for the ISTJs. This is their companion, their mentor, their auxiliary function. This is the one that's giving them that advice that they don't always want to listen to. It's good. They know that it's the right advice deep down, but also it means that you need to get out and do things that are a little bit outside your comfort zone. But it's a voice that's very powerful, and one of your superpowers, the keys to growth for an ISTJ. But on the other side, the ENFP has this the reflective conscience type character. It's that little voice that's always saying, is this really what you want to do? Is this who you want to be? If you take this action, do you know what that's going to make you? You know what you're going to become because of that? Shouldn't you slow down a little bit and check in with yourself? And for the ENFP, that's a struggle sometimes. It's not just sometimes. We don't like to listen to our mentor, our auxiliary function, when we need to. Because it's just so much easier to do the other thing. To stay extroverted if you're an ENFP, to stay introverted if you're an ISTJ. Okay, but those two voices, once again, they're on a polarity. They're mirror opposites of each other, and they're both within you. The ENFP, when they don't want to check in with themselves, she's going to go to that strategic commander and make things happen and just be like, I don't know, I don't care, let's just do something and see. Let's get a result and check it. Did it work? Did it get to what we wanted to do? Yes, okay, then we're good. Let's continue on. And not checking in necessarily with what's going on inside. And the ISTJ, when you don't want to go get new feedback in the outer world, when you don't want to put yourself out there and say, this is something that I want to build, to construct, to make. It could be figuratively, it could be in actual real life. You're going to check in with that reflective conscience. And it's not going to be something that's going to help you grow too much. It's going to be that voice that says, yeah, you were right to feel sad about this. You were right to feel angry, to have pride around this thing. It might not come out in those words, but you're probably going to latch on to some feeling that's going to keep you stuck within yourself and not going out and not experiencing new things and creating new things. So as I said, there's tons of stuff that goes into this. It's not a simple situation. If it were, then you wouldn't be watching this video about it. You wouldn't be curious about it because it would have worked itself out. You wouldn't have had to struggle with it at all. But really, one of the key takeaways from here is that if you want to be understood, you first need to understand yourself and then try to understand the other person before expressing yourself, before trying to assert yourself or your viewpoints on them. And I'm not talking specifically for one of these two different types. For anybody, we have these blocks that are stopping us from really listening to the other person's perspective. Think about that other person as an alien. You might already do that, but think about them as an alien that you just want to learn more and more about it. How do you see the world? How are you experiencing this? What was that like for you? If you keep that open frame, that open mind, you're going to get more insight into how the other person's working, and you're going to not fight it as much when they're doing things that are against your heroic character's style. If this video was helpful, I really think it is. If you watch this, you've heard tons of insights. You might want to watch it again because I went fast. I went through a lot of things. But what was helpful for you is going to be helpful for somebody else. So please let me know down below in the comments what rang true. What was I maybe even off a little bit? If you let me know that, then I can take that, I can refine it, and I can use it to help more people as well too. Alright, so I do sincerely hope that it helped. If you're in one of these relationships, not just ISTJ, ENFP, but it could be all flippy-floppied, right? INFP, ESTJ, whatever it is. Think about all these different characters in play, and think about how you are latching on to your own viewpoint and not letting in the other person's way of life. You know, the only thing that you can really change is your own approach to life. You can't make somebody change their mind. You can't make somebody do something that they don't want to. So keep that in mind and change yourself. Work on yourself and try to be a role model so that the other person can do that too. All right, so I hope it helped. Good luck, have fun. Keep up the lifelong questing. Peace.